Investing in real estate with a retirement account. Hi, I'm Ted Thomas, and welcome back. I've been involved in tax liens and tax deeds for a little over 25 years, and we're going to talk about tax lien certificates and tax deeds. But this particular episode is all about investing in real estate with your retirement account. You'll learn about traditional IRA accounts. We're also going to talk about Roth IRA accounts and how you can use tax lien certificates, and also you can use tax deeds, which will really supercharge your account. So both of these investments are terrific to put in your individual IRA, or you can put them in your Roth IRA. But I'm going to talk about mistakes people make at the auction, and I don't want you to make those mistakes. Investing in real estate with a retirement account. So this is a safe way to invest. Is number one, by buying tax lien certificates. But you want to add additional safety level to it by making sure that your retirement account is going to make money and don't do a lot of risk. So tax liens is the place to be. Tax defaulted properties have a little bit more risk, but they certainly have a ton of reward. So we're going to teach you how to avoid the risk in real estate by doing it with tax defaulted property and tax lien certificates. All right, so first of all, let's discuss why these certificates and why these tax deeds make money. They make money because the local government has a problem. And the problem they have is people don't pay their tax. When they don't pay the tax, then what happens is the government doesn't have money to run. In other words, how are they going to pay the school teachers? Or how are they going to take care of the retirement account for the county employees? How are they going to pay the county salaries? Okay, you're getting the idea. The county has a lot of bills to pay. So in order to pay the bills, all the local property owners must pay property tax. Now, when I say must pay, that means it's a requirement. If you're going to have property anywhere in the United States, you are going to pay property taxes. So the local government has a problem, and that problem is they didn't collect all the taxes. In other words, people didn't send in the check when they said they were going to do it. So now what are they going to do? Well, they're either going to, in a tax lien state, they're going to issue a tax lien, and that's going to be a tax lien certificate. All right. In the other states which sell tax deeds, well, what they're going to do there is they're going to, number one, they've levied the tax, then they're going to collect the tax, but if they can't, they're going to secure that property by seizing it, and then they're going to go out and resell it after they confiscate it. So give a little thought to that. So the county has a lot of work to do before it gets to you, but if you buy a tax deed, usually the auction will start somewhere around 20 cents on the dollar, and then it will go up. But it starts basically right around the back taxes, and then it goes up. If you can buy those properties for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar, you're going to have one heck of an investment. All right, so I'm going to talk about the individual retirement account, which is an IRA, and also the Roth IRA. Now, both of those are specialty investments that you need to learn about as you become an investor. Now, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an insurance man or a banker selling you one of these. I'm just telling you from a layman's standpoint how these investments work. Now, the government will always ask you when you show up at an auction, whether you're doing it online or offline, how do you want to title your investment? Do you want to put it in your name? Do you want to put it in your mother's name? Do you want to put it in a fictitious name? How do you want to title that investment? So you're going to do all of this within your IRA. So you're just like the manager for the IRA. So you're managing this company. So all of this investment that we're talking about right now is done within your IRA. That's going to make it tax deductible when you start. And if you do it with an IRA, it'll make it so you don't have to pay taxes when you finish. So think about that. So we'll talk a little bit about traditional IRA, and we'll talk about the Roth IRA. All right, so what are we talking about today? Well, this episode is about investing in real estate with your retirement account. So if you want to make real money, you want to start out what I call an individual IRA account. All right, now that individual account allows you to take a tax deduction, the money you save on the taxes, you then can go ahead and invest into that IRA. Now, there's all different amounts. It depends upon which one that you're going to choose, but you can do $1,500. Some allow you $5,000, but some of these investments can be substantial. So you need to study the individual IRA and start understanding how much you can put in. Now, one thing I know you don't want to do is you don't want to go to a bank and start an IRA, and you don't want to go to an insurance agent. I'm not negative on the bank and I'm not negative on the insurance agent, but they're going to sell you an IRA and they'll call it an individual IRA, and you only can invest in the bank and you can only invest in insurance. That isn't what we're talking about here. You want to have your own self-directed IRA. Self-directed is the key word. You want to have that so that you can invest in anything you want. Now, if you buy tax-lien certificates, that's nice and safe, so that'd be a good investment. Later on, you can learn how to buy tax deeds, another safe investment when you know how. All right, you're going to do both of those within your IRA. Now, if your IRA can make money, when you make money within the IRA, you don't have to pay any tax on it. On the individual IRA, in other words, a traditional one, so a traditional, you don't have to pay any tax until you take money out. So you have a tax deferment until you take money out. Now, I didn't say it was tax-free. You will have to pay tax, but you don't pay tax until you take it out. So you get a tax deduction going in, you make some money in there, and you don't have to pay tax until you take it out. So that's a traditional IRA. The Roth IRA doesn't work that way. The Roth IRA, you have to have money in it. So once the money's in there, then if you put anything new in, you pay the tax when you put it in. In other words, when you buy the investment, you put the money for tax, you pay your tax, and then you don't have to pay for the life of the Roth IRA. So you could have a Roth IRA and actually pass it on to your children or pass it on to a relative or whatever and not have to pay tax. So these are both really powerful investments. And the Congress made the law. I didn't make the law, so I'm just giving you a briefing on what it's all about. I don't sell IRAs. I don't get any commissions on telling you all this. I'm just telling you for your own account that you need to start with a traditional IRA, then you want to move to a Roth IRA. Or if you're coming from a pension plan or a 401k, you can start right out with a Roth IRA. So a Roth IRA means pay tax when you go in, and then you're all done. All right, now I'm not an expert on this subject, but I have become expert enough by watching other people do it. Now I have students that started out making pennies that now have so much money that they have 7 figures inside a Roth IRA. Now, if that makes money every year, they don't have to pay taxes on it. So think about that. Now, if you're brand new to us, put your name and number below or put a comment below if you want. But if you'd like to know how much tax liens pay in your particular state, drop us a little note there and let us know, and I'll send you back what the interest rate is in your state, and I'll send you a little gift along with that. All right, so what have I been talking about today? I've been talking about investing real estate with a retirement account. Folks, I don't get any commissions for telling you this, but a traditional IRA is a good place to start. A Roth IRA is an even better place. If you're transferring money from another account, you want to get a Roth IRA before you do that. Now, I'd like to introduce you, but I don't have time now, but I have a client by the name of Bob Schumacher, and he started with me 20 years ago, and I'll never forget the first time he made $1,500, and it was in his IRA. He thought that was a really big deal. Well, now it's 20 years later, and I've seen him in a Roth IRA invest $3,000 and take out over $100,000, and he didn't have to pay tax on it. All right, so where are we? Well, we're at a position where you need to think about where and how you're going to title your investments. So I'm going to finish on this subject now, and as I stop, I'm going to answer a couple of questions. I can't tell you how much it costs because I don't sell them. You'll have to contact someone that does and find out. The question is, can you have multiple IRAs? You don't need a multiple IRAs. You only need one, and get it named once. That's going to be one of your retirement accounts. So you want a special name for it, and you want to do as much investing as possible within the IRA. Why? Because every time you make money, you won't have to pay tax. As you get more and more successful in life, you'll start out at a low tax bracket, but before you know it, you're going to be up to 50%. What if you could make money and not have to pay that 50%? That's what an IRA will do for you. Okay, now let me finish up by telling you about the 2 big mistakes that people make. They happen at the auction. So number one big mistake is that people go to the auction and they're going to buy a property. They're determined to do that. And I certainly understand that because they want to be successful. But folks, if you haven't looked at that property, you haven't had boots on the ground, you haven't photographed it yourself, you haven't been there, you don't want to bid at that auction unless you've had someone look at the property within the last, let's say within the last few days, because there could have been a fire, there could have been a hurricane, there could have been some kind of storm, and the property may be damaged. So you don't want to buy something that you haven't seen. Now, the other mistake is similar, except it involves the exit strategy. So if you're going to buy a property at auction, you need to think about this. You don't want to start buying properties off a list or from pictures. You want to make sure that you've seen the property, as I just mentioned, and now you need to plan an exit strategy. So you don't want to just start bidding at the auction and hope and pray that you get the great deal. Hoping and praying is really a bad business strategy. You need to sit down and say, what can I sell this property? That's an exit strategy. If you don't know your exit strategy, you really shouldn't bid on that property. All right, so I'm ready to button it up right now. And what I'd like to do is I have something special for all of you that have come this far that are interested in knowing more. I've created a safe haven. It's a home study course, and I'm willing to give that to you. All you have to do is register below. It's a gift from Ted. Just register below.